Okay, welcome everyone to How Fancy Are We? A little bit of a tutorial on how to do an embroidery flower on top of your finished garment. Okay, it's actually really simple. What we're going to need is a contrasting thread, or you could actually do the same colour if you want, just to give some texture, but contrasting thread. And for each flower, I think you need about an arm length, kind of, but if you spread both your arms out wide, cut that much is how I'm going to go. So there we are. Whoop. Knocking that. Okay, so you need a bit of yarn and a darning needle, those two things. Okay, so we're going to thread on our darning needle and we're going to think about the placement of our flower. Here's one I've done already here, so whether I'm going to do kind of maybe one up there and one in the center-ish here. So you're going to start by putting your needle from the back to the front into where you want the center of the flower to be. So I'm going to choose here. Okay, so that's where I want the center of the flower to be. I'm going to zoom in and do this a bit closer. Okay, so we're going to start by pulling through. You want to leave a bit of a tail in the middle, that's where you're going to tie it off. So we start by coming from the back to the front in the center of where we want the flower to be. Then we are actually going to go back through that same hole and up to where we want the tip of the flower to be. I think about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is pretty good size for chunky. So you're going to pull it through from the back to the front. So you've gone back into the center hole and out is how you're doing it. Then you're going to pull it through, but not all the way. You're going to, once you've got a bit of a loop, you're going to go back through the loop and then pull, because that's how you create your petal. Do you see? Isn't that fun? Then to secure the petal, you just go to the next bar. So that's where you came through. You go to the next bar and go back through, and that will secure your petal. That's one petal, and essentially we just go round. So I'm doing 5 petals. I think that looks pretty good. You could do 6. So we go back into the center stitch from the back to the front, and we come all the way up. Okay, now remember we go back into that center stitch and we go out to where we want our next petal to be, and you really want to try and kind of get the same amount there. So I'm gonna poke out here. That one I thought was a bit high, but you know, the whole thing is that it's unique. There's character if it's not perfect, you know. So I might go here. Remember, we pull through, but not all the way through. Once we've got a bit of a loop, we go back into the loop. And when we pull, that will create our next petal. And again, we secure, we go, that's where we came through. We go 1 bar up. So next, you can see there's a little bar there, which is the stitch. 1 bar up, and that's our next petal. And we go round and round, back through the middle. Oop. Oh dear. Pull that back. Sorry. Back through the middle. Okay, so that's caught onto my original thing, so you got to watch out for that. Back through the middle. We don't want to pull too tight because we don't want to create puckering. Then remember, we're going back into the center and out to where we want to be. So I'm going to go out to there, wait till we have a loop, go through the loop, and you can kind of manipulate it with your fingers like that to make sure it's nice and neat. Then we go 1 stitch down. There we go. 3 back into the middle. Kind of want to go on the side that I keep going through that yarn, that's a bit silly. You kind of want to go into the like the angle of where you're going to do the next petal. So I'm going to go about there. Oh, that's not what I do. Remember, we go back into the center and we pop out where we want the petal to be. So that is an easy mistake to make. I did that on purpose actually, just to demonstrate. There we go. And remember, we're figuring out, then we go 1 stitch down to secure it. Okay, how's this looking? Then we're on to our last petal. So come up there, whoop. Come up into the center, then we go back into that same hole and out where we want our final petal. Remember, we don't, oh, I'm running out of yarn. We don't want to, so that's our loop, go into it and pull it out, then we go one stitch up, and there is our beautiful flower. So to secure, this is just what I do. I turn it back over, that's our center. See, I got it a bit tangled, so don't do that. I choose one of these and I go through it like a center back stitch, and then I actually just tie it off. 1, 2. And then you can weave in the ends or chop off the ends. And there we have a second flower.